Hello and welcome to Center for Victory's podcast of Your Best Day Yet. Here at Center for Victory, we're here to help you unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal and professional development. I'm Eric Guy, Chief Victory Officer at the Center for Victory. I've got a wonderful guest today, Miss Betsy Hamm from Duck Donut.
Yay!
And we're going to talk a little bit about, we've been talking about Wonder Women this month. And, you know, I ran into you a while ago.
Yes.
And you are just fantastic. I know
Thank you.
when I say that, but I love what you do. I love where you're at, and I love your enthusiasm and what you guys do. But more importantly is the role that you play inside the company.
Okay. I thought you were going to say you love the donuts the best.
And I do love the donuts. You gotta love the donuts. But with that, Betsy, we want to start first, just like, again, who you are. I want you to give yourself some props here.
Okay.
Who you are, how'd you get in that position? You know, what you do. You have a lot of responsibility inside of Duck Donuts, which is, and you can explain, you know, the franchise and everything. So please do that for us.
Okay. Sure. Absolutely. Sure. So I am the Chief Operating Officer at Duck Donuts. So I work for the franchising company. So we have a team of about 25 people, and our job here in the office is to support all of our franchisees to make sure that they are successful. So that is helping them with marketing, operations, IT, construction. So we're supporting, we have about 90 stores open currently throughout the country. And we are going international as well. So we have stores opening in Dubai and Saudi Arabia and Australia this year. So lots of fun things going on, and certainly just keeping busy. We have actually 2 stores opening this weekend. So that's what our team here is really focused on. And of course, continuing to grow the brand. So I've been with the company for about 3.5 years. And when I started 3.5 years ago, we had 12 employees and we had 22 stores open. So fast forwarding 3.5 years later, we have 25 employees in our corporate office and over 90 stores open. So it's been a fun ride helping to grow this brand.
Yeah, and you've been a tremendous push to help that happen.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you is, like, what did it take and what did you have to do to get to the position that you're currently in?
That's a good question. So the obvious answer is, of course, a lot of hard work. I have always been trying to figure out how I can make myself better. So whether it's professional development, personal development, constantly networking with people within organizations. And really how I ended up here was sort of by chance. I had never even heard of Duck Donuts before I had worked here. And someone said, hey, Duck Donuts is starting a marketing department. Would you be interested in talking to them about a marketing role? And I've learned to never turn down those kinds of conversations because you really never know where they're going to take you. So I thought, sure, I'll have a conversation. I was totally comfortable in my previous job. I worked for Hershey Entertainment Resorts for over 15 years in marketing. So of course, doing marketing for Hershey Park, the theme park, and spas and hotels and Hershey Bears was all fun. It was great. But I thought, okay, I'll give this a shot. So when I had talked to the CEO, I realized, wow, this could be having the opportunity to be of something that's just really different. And it was definitely very outside my comfort zone. Like I said, I was comfortable. I was in a stable job, with a big organization. But something said that, you need to constantly challenge yourself and maybe not always have that feeling of comfort. So really did step outside my comfort zone and sort of take a little bit of a leap of faith. Working for a company that was only a few years old, essentially. It was like working for a startup. So I think what really took me, what it really took to get here was more about having that ability to take a calculated risk and really being uncomfortable.
Okay. And, we're talking about women this month. So I want you to speak even more to women with a couple of these next questions. What are some of your biggest challenges, and maybe what are some of your biggest challenges, especially being a woman?
I think some of the biggest challenges, especially being a woman and especially early in my career, and I still think it's part of something I have to battle now, is showing up. So I think I learned actually early in my career, there was this professional development session on pie. So it was about what's your pie, and not the pie you eat, but when you look at a pie and you break that down, and your performance is very important, obviously, to get to continue to grow during your career. But your image is very important, and your exposure is very important. And that really means, how do you show up? And I think especially young women have the tendency to want to take a back seat, maybe sit in the back row in a meeting, not feel comfortable speaking up, not wanting to have people dislike them. So maybe just being a little bit more passive. So that's something I certainly battled early in my career. I've gotten a little bit better as I've gotten older. It makes it a little bit easier to have more confidence around that. But I see women in my organization still battling the same type of thing. So I think just having women who are confident and willing to have a seat at the table, and just to have that presence and show up. There's a lot of really smart women who take that back seat. And I certainly was one of them that just needed to have the confidence to be there and to have that presence within an organization.
Yeah. And then, because when I meet you, when I see you, that's how I think of you. Like, I mean, you're up front, you're classy, you're smart, you seem like you have it all together, but you didn't always.
No, of course not.
No.
And it's funny. I just told somebody recently who I was like, you need to be confident. And she's like, I know, but I'm not. I'm like, right. So just fake it. Like, if you're not confident, you'll get there. And we all have days where we're like, oh my gosh, who put me in this job? What are they thinking? Like, but you have to have confidence in yourself. And if not, then you at least have to fake it, because if you don't seem to be confident in yourself, others are definitely not going to be confident in you either. So it's certainly something I think it definitely comes with age a little bit and more experience. But, there's been rooms or walking into board meetings or whatnot that you're like, oh man, who let me in here? And you do want to question that, but you just have to get through it and have that confidence and show up.
Tell our listeners what maybe are some of what you would call your biggest successes.
So, I've had the opportunity to be part of a lot of great projects and a lot of great teams, especially at Hershey. But I think I'm in the midst of my greatest project right now, or hopefully what will be my greatest success. Just having the ability to come to a brand that is so young and new, and help it to be this emerging brand that has gone from, just a few stores in the Outer Banks to international. It's just something that I think a lot of people don't even get that opportunity to do. So I don't take it for granted. And I love the fact that, we've come so far in such a short amount of time, but I'm really excited to see where are we in 3 years, in 5 years, and in 50 years. So being able to, what I hope will be leaving a legacy of just this amazing international company, I think will be my greatest success. I just feel like I'm in the midst of it right now as we try to accomplish that.
Remind everybody what you reminded them at the beginning. When you came on, there were 22 stores.
There's 22 stores and 12 employees. Yep. And we'll hit the 100 mark here in about a month or so.
100 stores.
Yep.
And when did you come on?
3.5 years ago.
All right. I mean, I just want people to do that math.
To do the math, right.
Like that is so impressive.
Right. And it's funny too, because we take for granted, we've had to create a lot of processes and procedures and manuals, and, how do we support stores with marketing? How do we support them with operations? So it's been constantly evolving. And sometimes I think, oh my gosh, we have so much we still need to do. And then I just saw a document from 2017 where we said what we were going to do in 2017. I'm like, oh my gosh, we've come so far. So, but we know we're not perfect, and we're always striving to be better and to have more successful stores. It's amazing how much we've put into place in such a short amount of time. And that's just because we have this amazing team that we've continued to be able to grow and put people on the right seats on the bus and continue to put seats on the bus. Just has been huge. And it's just been so fun to literally get to build an organization and grow a brand.
And you've really helped create, an environment like that. It's very unique. Even when you step into your offices, I remember the first time I was out there, I'm like, man, like I want to come hang out.
Right.
I didn't even have the donuts yet,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've always been a believer of like, let's work hard, but let's play hard too. So we spend a lot of time with the people we work with, and, a lot of our team here is traveling with each other. So you got to like what you're doing, but you also have to like who you're with. So I just think having a positive, uplifting culture is really important. And, the franchising world is tough. So just making sure here with each other, we're lifting each other up and celebrating successes has been something that we've continued to improve upon, and have just put some different pieces into place to make sure that our team realizes like, okay, we're kicking butt here. This is really good.
Yeah. So with that, with your successes, obviously, and I know you're a believer in this, but we could just want to reinforce it here on the podcast. There's always people in our life that help us along.
Absolutely.
Right? Who were or are, it could be both, right? There's one or two people that were most influential or have been the most influential in your life for you.
Sure. So the first person I always think of is one of my old bosses from Hershey. Her name was Kim Schaller. And she was my boss for a lot of years. She was the first executive woman at Hershey Entertainment and Resorts, which I think is just cool. And she owned that, and she did so much for women within the organization, especially from a leadership standpoint. And she really, paid it forward or gave back, I guess. Which I just always really respected her for. But as a boss, she was tough. And she was very, very tough on me. And sometimes during that time, I might not have appreciated how tough she was. But I think she believed in me and she saw something in me. And she really helped guide me through the years of just, especially during those early parts of the career where you're not really sure what you're doing. She's just somebody who I've always looked up to and have respected. And I still keep in touch with her. So, I'll still have to send her the occasional email or text, or when she sends me like a nice note that she saw we did something, I'm always like, yes, Kim still likes it. Kim liked it. So it's just funny how that person can still have such an impact. And, she hasn't been my boss for several years, but someone I still really rely on her opinion, and I appreciate everything she's done for me personally, but then also for women within this area.
Wonderful. Anybody else that you could think of?
It's funny. The other one I was thinking of is kind of different, but I have two daughters. So they're 8 and 11. And I think having young girls has made me realize the impact that girls have on each other, because I think we take that for granted. So, trying to instill in them how important it is to raise each other up and to support each other, and not to be mean, whether it's your sister or to your friends, but just trying to have that supportive, positive talk environment. I hear myself saying things to them and I'm like, right, yes, I need to do that too. So they've been so influential to me on that. And of course, they don't even realize it, but I do. I think it's so important that we raise girls to support each other. And as you're helping your girls do that, you realize like, okay, yes, I also need to make sure I'm practicing what I'm preaching. So they've been very influential to me and they don't even know it. And, of course, as they grow up, I hope someday they'll think it's, that their mom was fairly successful and taught them how to be, a professional woman.
That is an awesome answer. That one, I'm glad I asked. Thank you. Are there steps that you like intentionally took to be successful?
I think I just have always kept an open mind and tried to learn. So I would try to learn as much as I could, reading books or taking classes or networking. I just think it's important to constantly be learning. And sometimes it may be things that don't maybe seem to make sense at the time, going to different conferences or networking events, but I think that's helped. And I've worked in the same market my entire career, even though it's for different companies, and everyone's so connected. But I think that has helped me through the years, and actually how it's even helped how I landed this job here was because of connection. So I just think constantly learning and constantly networking are just really important to your success.
Yeah. And last question here. What tips, right,
Okay.
you have for people, especially young women, especially you have two daughters, right? What tips would you say for young women who aspire to be successful in to the point that you are? I mean, you have a family, you have a great job. You're not this tyrant. You command, right? But you're still collaborative in nature. You bring this powerful, I guess the lack of a better term is just this you have this sunshine about you.
Oh, thank you.
Attitude wherever you go, and you have this presence that, hey, look, this is what it takes to be a successful business person, especially as high up in that company as you're doing, running it as well as you are, but you're also balancing everything else.
Yeah.
What
and one thing to say about that is I think, sorry, it just catched up. One thing I think that women think that they have to be amazing at everything all the time and we can do it all, and the whole Wonder Woman piece of it. And that's not real. Like, I think it goes back to, there's some days that I am a great mom, and there's some days that I'm probably not a great mom or a great wife or a great daughter. And some days I'm a great employee, and some days I probably slack there too. So just this contrived idea that you can be amazing at everything all the time isn't real. So I think the first thing is stop being so hard on yourself, because I think we all do it to ourselves and we do it to each other. So that would be my first thing, is just take a deep breath. Nobody is killing it every day, all day long. So just not to be so hard on yourself. And then I think the second thing is just goes back to that, get uncomfortable, or get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So if you don't push yourself, if you don't take risks, if you don't, raise your hand for that project, or think about going to an interview if you're not happy where you are, it's just stepping outside your comfort zone is just really important to success. And then the last thing is just not forgetting about the pie. So performance is super important, but so is your image and so is your exposure. So if you're amazing and people don't know that, then there's no point in being amazing. So it's just making sure that you're promoting yourself. You have to be your own PR person, because no one else is going to do it for you.
Like that, your own champion. You definitely are, and we really appreciate you being.
Oh, thank you.
You're busy. I mean, I know.
No worries. I always have time for you.
I really appreciate what you all do. I just want you to get one just a little closer north. That's the next.
Okay, we're working on that.
Got one in the South Hills. I want
Too
you
far.
to Pittsburgh. We want you just to get up a little bit closer in the North Hills, and that would be
Sounds
great.
good.
But I'm going to end it with this, and it's a lot of what you spoke about, but it's a quote. It says, one of the most courageous things you can do is identify yourself, know who you are, what you believe in, and where you want to go. And I think you just wrapped that all up. You summed
Oh,
up
nice.
in this great podcast, and I really appreciate that and appreciate you being on. That's all for today, folks. I really appreciate you watching. Hopefully you got a lot out of it. I know I did. Please make sure you give the video a like, leave a comment down in the section below. We'd also appreciate it if you'd hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon to get notified when we post next. If you'd like more information, you can visit us at centerforvictory.com. If you'd like more donuts, go to Duck Donuts.
Yes, duckdonuts.com.
duckdonuts.com, and they are so good. They're made fresh right before your eyes, like literally right before your eyes, and that's the unique piece that they have. But just I'm going to leave you with this, and that is what we leave everybody with every podcast that we end, is that wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make sure you make this day your best yet. We'll see you later.